As the 2024 NFL draft draws closer, we are now about, I want to say, when am I recording this? This is Saturday, April 6th. I'm recording this. So we're 19 days? I can't do math. 19 days away from the beginning of the NFL draft in 2024. So I figured this would be a pretty fun video to do. Try and get away from the content that has been dropping from all draft creators lately. It's a mock draft here, a mock draft there, a lot of collaborations. I feel like we tried to switch it up just a little bit, and I wanted to interact with the fan base, I guess you could say, or my Twitter followers for the most part, or X, whatever you want to call it nowadays. Back in my day, it was called Twitter. But you can see the post on the screen here. Yesterday, about 22 hours ago, I asked the Twitter community, give me your spiciest take for the 2024 NFL draft. And we got quite a bit of replies here for this one. There was a lot of quote tweets involved here, a lot of replies, 126 replies. So what I did for today's video, I wanted to turn this into a video. I thought this would be fun to go over about the 15 craziest takes that I saw from this post. So if you want to be mentioned or if you want to participate in a post like this, I'll probably be doing one more. I don't know if I'll make a video about it, but I'll probably be making another post like this about a week before the NFL draft, I'd say. Be sure, if you could see it on the right-hand corner here, follow me at the Mock Draft Guy YT on Twitter. I like to think that I post a bunch of relatively, it's mostly satirical tweets for the most part, but I try and sprinkle in a little knowledge here and there. So I think I'm a super fun follow. But if you want to be involved in the next one of these, be sure to follow me. So without further delay, let's get into the 15 craziest hot takes, or spicy takes, if you will, for the 2024 NFL draft from my Twitter followers. So we're going to get out of here. We're going to go right to this one here real quick. This post was from Allan, a bunch of numbers. Allan at 983-91410. Buffalo trades with Arizona. Buffalo sends the 28th overall pick first next year and Minnesota's second. Arizona gives up the fourth pick and they grab Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay, couple things here. One, I love the premise of the take. I do think if you guys watched my Buffalo Bills mock draft after Stephon Diggs was traded, I did have them move up to number 9 overall to take Rome Odunze. So I think a trade up is definitely on the table. I will say that. Trading up from 28 to number 4 would probably be one of the biggest trade ups in draft day history, and the price would probably be astronomical. I don't think that Brendan Beane or anyone in the Buffalo Bills organization would be keen on moving up 24 spots to give, because I do believe that it would cost way more than what Allan is talking about here. So he's essentially saying it'll take 2 first-round picks and 1 second-round pick to move up. Really, why I don't think that this will go through at all is because Arizona gets no 2024 compensation for this. It would purely be 2025. So I like the premise of this hot take, but I don't think that the compensation lines up for what it would actually cost to move up 24 spots into the top 5. So this one is from Token White Boy. Awesome name. Love that. 79 Token White Boy. Justin Jefferson will be traded and the Vikings make a very aggressive move. I don't think that again, the premise I kind of like, because if you think about it, Justin Jefferson hasn't signed a contract extension. He seems relatively on the fence for the most part. I know that he was a big advocate in keeping Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, but he seems to be relatively tame for the most part. I haven't really been in Minnesota Vikings chats recently to really get the scoop on what's going on with Justin Jefferson, but I don't think that moving up to take a Drake May or a Jaden Daniels or a JJ McCarthy would take trading Justin Jefferson. I don't even think it would really take that much at all, even if they were to move up to the 3rd or 4th overall pick. Now, the New England Patriots did come out and say that it would cost more than 3 first-round picks to move up for a team to number 3 overall. So I'm assuming that they were talking about either the Denver Broncos or the Minnesota Vikings. But yeah, I think this is kind of crazy, to be honest with you, because unless I'm getting like the number 1 overall pick and I'm restarting my franchise with like Caleb Williams or Drake May, I don't think that this would be worth it at all. Justin Jefferson to be traded doesn't make much sense to me. To me, he's the best wide receiver in football. And I don't really think it's particularly close, to be honest with you. When he's healthy and he's on, he can beat anyone on his day. So I doubt that this would even really be considered by the Minnesota Vikings. But it's a good thought. Like I said, I like the premise for the most part. Okay, so this is from Zanino Cock Fanatic 74. No, I'm not gonna lie. I when I screenshotted these and I made this into a slideshow, I didn't even bother really to look at some of the names. Some of them I saw, but I didn't see Cock Fanatic 74. So right away, there's either two ways that he can go with that name. It's either he's a really big South Carolina Gamecock fan, or we're gonna have a separate discussion. But either way, totally cool. But Cock Fanatic 74 says Spencer Rattler will be the best quarterback in this draft class. Now, this is a take that I've seen quite a few times up until this point. Excuse me as I sip my tea. But yeah, I mean, maybe if this was like 2 or 3 years ago, I would say sure. I don't think with Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels and even JJ McCarthy, I don't think Spencer Rattler is. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback in this class. I do think that he's a good quarterback, though. And I think that he will find success in the NFL. If you watched yesterday, I just posted my top 10 quarterback rankings for the 2024 NFL draft, my final rankings. I did have Spencer Rattler at 7, I want to say. I did. At number 7, and I did say that he would have, I had him projected at number 52 overall to the Los Angeles Rams. Now, I think Spencer Rattler comes with a bunch of things to love about his game. Good fundamentals. He has great arm strength. He has great arm elasticity and angle freedom, what I mean by angle freedom is that he can make those sidewinder throws. He can throw over the top. Really, his shoulder is limitless to the amount of angles that he could throw the football under duress, under pressure, whatever it may be. So I think there's a lot to like about his game. He's persevered through adversity through his collegiate football career, and I think he's going to make a name for himself in the NFL. But to say that he is the best that he will be the best quarterback in this draft class, I just can't see that with some of the talent that's at the top of this class. Cock Fanatic 74, it sounds like you're a little bit of a homer with this take. I'll be quite honest with you, but great name, and I love the idea. So that boy blue, Elijah Pierce says Jaylen Polk, I'm assuming he's talking about Jaylen Polk, will be the best wide receiver in this class. I mean, I don't really know what I could say about this one. I think Jaylen Polk is going to be a fine wide receiver at the NFL level. I think he's going to be a really awesome number 2 or a prototypical X wide receiver. He's going to win those 50-50 balls down the field. He's going to beat press coverage one-on-one on an island, but I don't think he'll be the best. I think he'll be good. Like, this class is just so rich with talent, top-end talent. I couldn't justify taking Jaylen Polk. Even if we go over the top 3 guys, even his own teammate, Rome Odunze, I can't justify taking a Jaylen Polk or seeing Jaylen Polk being better than Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., guys like that. To be honest with you, I can't even see him being better than Malachi Corley or Malik Washington. But I think Jaylen Polk's going to be a fine receiver at the NFL level, like a number 2, pretty much. So I think this is a bit crazy, a little bit too rich for my blood in terms of a take, but I appreciate the effort for that one. Next one here, Pal Blart, I guess. Hi, I'm Paul. Okay. I know it won't happen, but it would be fun if, the Chargers traded Justin Herbert, the 5th overall pick plus, to the Bears and take Caleb Williams with the number 1 overall pick. Bears keep Herbert Allen together, but with a better overall scenario and tons of draft capital. Now, Mr. Pal Blart, this isn't dynasty football. I don't think that would ever happen. And first off, if I'm the Chargers and if I want to trade Justin Herbert, I'm just offering straight up Justin Herbert for the number 1 overall pick. Like, I am not attaching the number 5 overall pick. I'm not attaching plus to that. I think that's a little crazy, to be honest with you. That actually, it's not crazy. It's insane. Also, saying that the Bears keep Herbert Allen together, even though Keenan Allen has 1 year left on his contract and he's in his mid-30s and is probably going to be a 1-year wide receiver in Chicago. Doesn't make much sense to me. I love the fact that he mentioned that they will have a ton of draft capital. They absolutely will. But yeah, this is an absurd take. I'm sorry, sir. I try and be as nice and respectful as possible, but this is just absurd. That's an absurd take on that one. I could never see something like that happening, especially with the money involved. Okay, so the next one we have here, the Witching Hour said Jaylen McMillan is a top 5 wide receiver in this draft. Now, I like this take a lot. I saw this before, and I definitely wanted to highlight this one because Jaylen McMillan is someone that kind of has been slept on throughout the entire draft process. I've gone back as far as to see Bengal. I'm assuming if you guys know my draft content, you know Bengal's draft content. And he said way early on, I don't remember what week it was, but it was a mock draft that he did after a specific week of the NFL season. And he had Jaylen McMillan, I believe, as like the 7th overall pick to the Las Vegas Raiders. So Jaylen McMillan has fallen far in this draft cycle because one, it's a stacked draft class. We talked about that already for the wide receiver position. Two, he was injured most of the season, and Jalen Polk kind of destroyed the. It was supposed to be the Jalen McMillan and Rome Odunze show at Washington. It was the Jalen Polk and Rome Odunze show at Washington. But McMillan is as solid as they come. And I think if he could start in the slot at the NFL level, he's going to be a real problem. So I don't know if he will be, when it's all said and done, a top 5 wide receiver in this draft, but he is a very, very good wide receiver. And I like where the Witching Hour's head is with this one, because this is a take that is spicy, but at the same time, there's a lot of truth behind it. It could be true at the end of the day. It's not like he's saying, I don't know, a undrafted free agent is going to be a top 5 wide receiver in this class. Someone that has a lot of talent, has a ton of experience, and really just fell in this draft class because of injury and because of other players kind of overtaking his spot. I think this is a pretty valid take. I actually somewhat agree with this one for sure. So the next one here we have Scotty Scout. Scotty Scout. Scotty Stout. I can't read, everyone. I don't know. I shouldn't quit my day job. That's for sure. Jalen Wright will be I'm assuming he wanted to say the best running back from this draft. Again, a perfectly valid, spicy take, because do I think there are players in this draft class that are better than Jalen Wright? I think Trey Benson, Jonathan Brooks, Blake Corm, for the most part. I even think Isaac Guriendo and Kamani Vidal might be better than Jalen Wright. But Jalen Wright is a awesome player in his own right. And this is something that's perfectly valid. This is a wide open running back class. This is probably one of the most wide open running back classes we've had in some time, where there's really no clear cut number 1 option. I would say maybe if Travion Henderson or Raheem Sanders came out, one of those 2 guys would be the clear cut number 1. But Jalen Wright's definitely a top 5 running back in this draft class, in my opinion. And it's a perfectly valid thing to say that he could be the best one out of the bunch. Super fast, really versatile. I like his game a lot, and doesn't have too much tread taken off of his tires at this point in his career. So it's perfectly valid. I think Scotty Stout or Scout, whatever, could have something here with this one. I really can't read. I got to go back to school at this point. It's a little too late for me, but okay. So, oh boy, another name. Miles Tatik. Let's say what Miles Tatik. Miles Tatik says Cam Kinchin is the best safety in this class and will be drafted higher than most people think. I agree partially with one part and basically agree entirely with another part. Now, Cam Kinchin's James Williams and Kalen King should write a book on how to tank your draft stock in 6+ months, because after the college football season, I was fully on board with Cam Kinchin's being my safety number 1 and James Williams being not too far behind him. Now we're looking at James Williams as being pretty much either restricted to being a box safety at the NFL level or just being an overall linebacker at the NFL level. And Cam Kinchin is someone that tested out extremely poorly. I believe he had a 2.93 RAS score on his pro day, which is just absolutely putrid. Ran in the mid 4.6s in his 40-yard dash. The tape doesn't really lie to me. I still think Cam Kinchin can be that ball hawking safety that a lot of teams need. Thinking about, like the Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills, teams like that really value those safeties. Maybe even the Philadelphia Eagles would take a shot on him. Some people have him in like the 4th round at this point because of his athletic testing. To me, athletic testing does mean a lot. I still think game tape is the end all be all for the most part, but I do take in consideration 40 times and all the athletic testing, pro day, senior bowl, combine, all that kind of stuff. So Kinchin's definitely, I thought Kinchin's was a back end of the first round talent. I'm still going to hold somewhat true to that. I did have him taken in the second round of my of one of my team mock drafts. I believe it was the Baltimore Ravens at number 58, something like that. They took Cam in. I took Cam Kinchins for them to be their third safety. I think it's valid. I don't know if he's the best at this point. I still think, even though Tyler Nubin tested out really poorly as well athletically, I think Tyler Nubin is overall the better player, just so much better in coverage and actually a really good tackling safety. Cam Kinchins is someone that's a little erratic with his tackling as well. He's kind of like a missile. He just kind of comes at you as fast, as hard as possible, kind of forgets about technique. And sometimes that could be for the worse. So I agree with part of this take. I think he definitely could be the best, but I don't know if he is as of right now. Okay, Bornston, Bornston, I really can't read, guys, says Jonathan Brooks becomes a top 10 running back year one. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Top top 10 running back in the NFL? Maybe not after year one, but the Jonathan Brooks to Todd Gurley similarities are kind of running super parallel at this point, to where after Todd Gurley's injury at Georgia his last year, he still got drafted ninth overall, became an incredible player for about 5 years. It's just a shame that I honestly think Todd Gurley is still like 28 or 29 years old at this point. It's just a shame that his knees just really failed out on him as quickly as they did, because he scored like 80 touchdowns in like 5 years in the NFL, or 6 years in the NFL. He was unbelievable when he was at his peak. So I could see the similarities in terms of the injury, and Jonathan Brooks is a fantastic running back. I don't know what they have in the water down there in Texas, but with Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Brooks, I think they have a couple other guys coming up that are going to be fantastic as well. But I think maybe year two, year three, Jonathan Brooks, when he gets back to full health and he can give it a full go after this ACL injury, I think this holds some weight. I don't think after year one, though. So we'll have to hold off on year one. But I think overall, he could be a top 10 running back in the NFL at some point. So William Luke Hendrick, actually one of my friends at Stadium Rant, said Drake May falls out of the top 10. I will say one thing. In my pinned comment in my top 10 ranking for the quarterbacks in the 2024 draft, I did have some advanced stats posted there, an article about advanced stats on Drake May that are pretty alarming, and honestly made me drop him from my quarterback 2 to my quarterback 3. It just, under pressure, Drake May is really bad. Like at least at this level, really bad. Even when he wasn't pressured, on short to intermediate throws, he had, I think it was like the second least accurate number in the entire FBS. So there's a lot of shocking numbers to Drake May's game. But then, of course, you look at the pros and you're like, wow, this guy just oozes franchise quarterback talent. He's got a cannon of an arm. He's really good athletically. He can run. He could evade pressure. And he's just got such a great quarterback build. 6'4" and a half, 225 pounds. He is just like, if you want to mold a quarterback on Madden, that's like the prototype that you look at. Big arm, huge body, can run, athletic. So I don't think Drake May falls out of the top 10. I think someone comes up and gets him, especially see, I like this take as a premise, but if you really dig into it, you think there are so many teams at the back end of the top 10 that are looking to trade down. Like, I'm assuming that the Bears are looking to trade down out of 9. I'm assuming the Jets are looking to trade down out of 10. Even the Atlanta Falcons, if the price is right, could probably move out of the 8th overall spot. So even if Drake May were to fall, I don't think he would fall further than 8, 9, or 10. So no, I don't think he'll fall out of the top 10. Maybe he'll be the 4th quarterback drafted. Maybe we could have a Will Levis situation all over again, where we think that he could have a chance to be the 2nd or 3rd quarterback off the board, and then he's there until round 2. But in this case, it would be he's there until the back end of the top 10. So I like that take, though. I'm not going to lie. Nice and spicy. I like the spiciness on that one. Okay, Hunter Wells Kimbley, one of my treasured Twitter followers, to be honest with you. Really great guy. NFL future GM is a little crazy as a handle, but rock on, Hunter. We respect it. This is going to give me a lot of hate, but here we go. Blake Corm and Trey Benson are first round talents. Both of these guys will make an early impact on any team that drafts them, and I expect both of them to be in multiple Pro Bowls. Perfectly valid. Perfectly valid up until the point where he said first round talent. Don't think either of these guys are first round talents. If these guys were in last year's running back class, definitely not getting taken in the first round for sure. Maybe not even the second round. But these guys are great. I think Trey Benson is the best running back in this class. I think Blake Corm is maybe the best rusher out of. I know it's crazy to say that, oh, running back. Of course he's going to run the football. He's a rusher. That's what he is. I think he has the best field vision out of all the running backs. He has a lot of miles on him, though. I think he averaged like 200 and something touches every season at Michigan. He's got a lot on him. Trey Benson is someone that I think is a little bit more well-rounded, someone that, I'm perfectly fine with as a 3-down running back. Blake Corm seems like a 2-down back at best. We don't really know the extent of his pass catching. He did catch some passes at Michigan, but we don't really know how good he truly is. So that's something that the team that drafts him is going to have to discover. But I think these guys are great. I think this is a pretty decent take, but I don't think that they are first-round talents. Either of them, I don't think are first-round talents. I would argue that Trey Benson is the closest running back that we have to a first-round talent. I'd probably put a top 40 grade on him, and then Blake Corm is probably like top 60. So I could see him as a second-round pick too, but I don't think either of these guys are first-round picks. At least in my opinion, I don't think that they're first. I don't value running backs like that. Okay. Joshua Wright says Javon Baker will be the best receiver from this draft class. I mean, and this is coming from a big Javon Baker fan. If you guys watched my entire team mock draft series this year, I think I drafted Javon Baker to like 7 or 8 different teams. Like, I think he's a great wide receiver. And I think that he's actually undervalued at this point, especially on PFN's big board. He's like 141. You can't name 140 players better than Javon Baker in this class. 6'2", 207 pounds, pretty decent 4.5 speed. He's going to be good. He's going to be really good at the next level. I could see him being a perennial 1,000-yard receiver every single year. Again, I'm just going to go back to what we said about, I don't even remember who we said, who the other best receiver from Jalen Polk. I don't think Javon Baker is going to be better than Marvin Harrison Jr., half these guys. I don't think that is going to happen. But in his own right, I'm not going to dismiss the take because Javon Baker, I think, is going to be great. I just don't think that he's going to be the best receiver from the draft class. So, Josh, you got something cooking there, but I can't see that for the most part. Okay, this is one of my favorites. I even answered this one. I usually answer a lot of people, to be fair, but this one, there was way too many responses to answer everyone. So Nolan Thomas, I have a 2 for 1. So this is really 16 spicy takes, not 15. I'm always here to please, ladies and gentlemen. Mason McCormick will find his way into the second round as one of the top 5 interior offensive linemen taken. And I said, Nolan, I think we just became best friends because that's not in my world. That's not even a spicy take. I think that's perfectly valid. I think that's a completely normal take. I think Mason McCormick is unbelievable. I think he comes with 3,000 plus snaps of experience. He's uber athletic. He's uber nasty. He's going to be fantastic. I think that's a perfectly valid take. So we'll go to the next one. In a year, people will look back and ask how they let Malik Washington slide as far as they did after he's a top 25 receiver year 1. Again, love it. Think that's great. I love Malik Washington. Me and Nolan were really on the same page here with both of the takes. Usually someone gives me a good take and then, they give me another one and I'm like, nah, don't like that one. But he was 2 for 2 with this. If you guys know me, again, kind of like with the Javon Baker thing, Mason McCormick was an all-star of my 7-round mock draft series. Same thing with Malik Washington. I can't say enough good things about Malik Washington. I think he's going to be one of the best slot receivers in the NFL right away. He's fantastic. Contact balance is something like I've never seen before from someone that's 5'8", 191 pounds. I love both of these takes. So Nolan, we got to get a drink, bud, because we are officially best friends after you went 2 for 2 with these takes. Next one here. Okay, I think this one was the most egregious one. I wanted to save this for the second to last one. So from 24/7 Bengal Fiend, I'm assuming he's taking steroids in that one, or at least the Bengal Tiger or whatever tiger that is in his profile pictures, definitely taking steroids. That dude is chiseled. Brock Bowers, a third round talent. Drake May, a second round talent. Jerzon Newton, a fourth round talent. Joe Alt good, not elite. If Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't named after his dad, he would have more flaws. Okay. Drafting a slot receiver shouldn't happen until the fourth round. All right. I have numerous problems with this. Drake May being a second round talent might be the only one that could hold the most validity here. Brock Bowers, a third round talent? Absolutely not. I think Brock Bowers is the greatest tight end prospect we've ever seen. I think people are scared of drafting tight ends super early on because of what's happened with Kyle Pitts so far. But Kyle Pitts is still young, and he actually has an offensive coordinator that'll probably use him now. So I think Kyle Pitts will be fine. I think Brock Bowers will be fine. Is he going to be this all-worldly tight end that's better than Rob Gronkowski or George Kittle or Mark Andrews or any of these guys at the end of the day, Travis Kelce? Probably not, but I think he'll be a perennial Pro Bowler. I think he'll be a multiple-time All-Pro. I think he's going to be fantastic. I don't see there's no reasons for these takes here. I just think he was kind of spewing these out just to get a reaction. And to be fair, he's getting one, but I don't see how Brock Bowers could be a third round talent, especially after evaluating him multiple times. Maybe a third round talent as a true tight end because he's 6'4", 236 pounds. So he's not going to be that inline blocking, typical tight end that we see from Rob Gronkowski, where Gronk was an elite blocker as well as being an elite weapon. I think Brock Bowers is more of a weapon X type of player that you're going to see him play in the slot a lot more than inline. Drake May being a second round talent, with a few of the articles that I read about those advanced stats, this could turn out to be true at some point, but second round is still great. Jerzon Newton being a fourth round talent, I'm just going to say this. If you guys know me, you know this content, you know my channel, you know that I think Jerzon Newton is the best defensive player in the entire draft class. I don't jive with that take at all. There's no reason for that. Maybe because Jerzon Newton doesn't play with too much power. He's more of a finesse defensive tackle. That could be the only thing that I could see. Joe Alt, good, not elite. Could see that as well, to be honest with you, because Joe Alt has an incredible athletic profile. He's 6'9", he's 316 pounds. But because of how big he is, it's really tough for him to play balanced. He's consistently playing over his feet because of how big he is. So that take could hold some validity. If Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't named after his dad, he would have more flaws. Doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. If anything, people are more keen now to find flaws in Marvin Harrison Jr.'s game due to prospect fatigue at this point. And a lot of people have said Malik Neighbors is already a better wide receiver. I disagree. I think it's close. I don't think that he's better, though. So I don't get that one, to be honest with you, because just because of his name doesn't mean that I'm going to look at him differently. And then drafting a slot receiver shouldn't happen until the fourth round. I don't know if that's a take for this draft or just every draft, but now more than ever, we're seeing guys enter the league as specifically slot receivers. But before the last 5, 6, 7 years, I feel like there wasn't as much of a emphasis put on the slot receiver role. So I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that one. So I don't know. That last one I don't really have an opinion on. But we're on to our last take here of this video. And the last one is from William Jack. He says Max Melton goes ahead of both Alabama boys. So I'm assuming he's talking about Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terrion Arnold. I half agree with him. I could see Max Melton going before Kool-Aid McKinstry. I can't see Max Melton going before Terrion Arnold. I think that Arnold is the CB1. I think what separates Terrion Arnold and Quinyon Mitchell from being CB1 is just his change of direction. I mean, Terrion Arnold can stop on a dime. It's unbelievable. If you watch his tape, especially coming back to the football, he really can stop on a dime and he could really make a ton of plays on the football. Max Melton tested out amazingly athletically. They also run a lot of complex coverages at Rutgers defensively. So he's a really smart football player because he gets and understands a lot of those coverages as well. Very versatile. I could see him going before Kool-Aid, especially because of that Jones's fracture with Kool-Aid McKinstry. Even though he did run a 4.47, I'm not totally in love with the pure speed aspect from corners when it comes to a 40-yard dash. Give me your agility statistics. What's your change of direction look like? What is your acceleration look like? What's your 10-yard split look like? You could run a 4.25 40-yard dash, but if you have shit agility stats, I think that matters more than your overall 40-yard dash. So Max Melton, good agility statistics, great speed. I could definitely see him going before Kool-Aid. Can't see him going before Terrion Arnold. So that will conclude our 15 hot takes from my Twitter followers for the 2024 NFL Draft. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about this video. I thought this would be a super fun way to incorporate some viewers into these videos and just kind of separate this content from the norm that's been posted for the last couple weeks. But rest assured, as the NFL Draft gets closer, I have a couple more collaborations coming up that I'm really excited about. So stay tuned for that. There will be a ton more mock drafts coming out. I know I haven't posted a 2 or 3 round mock draft in a while, but one will be coming right after this video. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.